is the many different ways that you can customize your reports. We have some things that we can go over, like how do you apply a theme to an entire report? We will talk about changing the color of a single data point. We have conditional formatting, which means based on a rule we set or based on a condition, we can change colors and different things, fonts along the way. Well, so with that, it was also is how do you base the color of a chart based on a numeric value? A numeric value being, I want to see everything that's under $10,000 in red, because those are the ones I really want to look at. Or a field point. If a field is high or low, let's say, I want to see the high in one color, the low in another color. We have what's called diverging color scales, meaning, like as you can see here in the lower right left-hand corner, I have my customers by contract amount. I can set up diverging scales so as each of these go up and increase, the colors change based on a minimum amount or a maximum amount or even a custom one. Then I will bring in a table and we'll show how to change the colors of a table. And then our last step would be you're going through everything, you do it, and you decide, oh, I really don't want to do this, how to undo what you did quickly and easily. So one of the first tips I want to show you is if you ever get into your Power BI and you cannot see your visuals or your filters, most of the things we'll be looking at today, just keep in mind that they're always, in most cases, over on the right-hand side of the pane, and you can actually then just open the visuals, and the visuals will then show you everything that we're going to work on today. So what is applying a theme made? Anyone who's put together a PowerPoint presentation, or in this case, a Power BI, knows that, you know, to make this look pretty, sometimes we can do different things. So we can change the entire report to take on characteristics of what we call a theme. So under, excuse me, so under modeling, my bad, under view, you'll see that up here, and this right here looks like anything you would in Word or Excel in that. So let's say that I looked at it and I liked a theme that maybe looked like this. So I can quickly set that, and then it will put something like this in. And then from there, we can take these and do it differently. You could have, so each of these is actually set differently. Like I might come in here and set this one to be more of this type. And if you're interested, you can go out and see if there's other customized ones, or download, create your own and bring that in. So let's say you have company colors. Maybe you want your company colors and say this is something that all of your documentation is on. You might do something like this. So it's a way that you've applied it so that the sales and marketing report stands out differently, or the aging by division stands out differently than the contract amount itself. Now we have this, is we have our data points here, is there's a way that you can make, as I've got here, I've got no color shown, so I want to make a single data point a particular color. It could be, in our case, the contract amount. It could be the aging amount, you know, something that has a dollar value. So over here on the left, right, I'm sorry, you have your main screen, which gives us all of our data points, but then you have a format field. Now I'm going to open this fields up over here so you can see something a little bit down the road here. So here in our data point, I want to look at this and change a particular data point by the color. So in this case, I'm going to take maybe the PM contract and change it so it looks different than the PM residential, maybe the PM industrial, those type of things. Well, how exactly do you do that? So if we go down to data colors, and right now we have a default color. in this case, I'm going to say show all, and you'll see by showing all, it gives us, I'm sorry, by showing all, it gives us the different colors based on our contract amounts. I could take the default color and say make them all green at one time. I can say I'm going to make the default color green, but I want the PM color here to stand out as maybe orange. So now you have one data set because you've clicked on the individual one and you've made it what you want. You can then come down and let's say I want to make each one of these slightly different just so that it's got a different look to it. But I'm going to leave this one just as the default. That's one way to do it. Once you've selected it, you got the orange stands out. This could be, a bright yellow, anything you want to make it look something that initially grabs your attention and focuses on, the contract amounts and those type of things. Even if you change the visual here, and I came up here and I changed this from a contract to a stacked bar chart, you'll see that it doesn't then keep the difference. Then because you've changed it, you'd have to go back in and maybe change it because now we're displaying it differently. So if you're displaying it the same way, everything is fine. But if you change the way it's being formatted here, so because this was a graph this way, the minute we changed it to say a vertical graph here, or excuse me, a horizontal graph, it changes the way our data is sorted, because now when we changed it, it went to this way. So just keep that in mind. Again, the same thing as let's do conditional formats for a visualization. So I'm going to come up to our tables by division here. And what we want to do here is we want to make the color based on a value. So by making it based on a value, meaning if I came into here and I say I'm going to come into our custom window here, or our say expression window, I can base that value on any of the fields that are associated with this particular field or report. Now, how do I know which, when I grabbed one of these, which data set it's looking at? You'll see over here that it actually gives you an indication of which data set's available. So again, by coming in here, I can now say I want to see us based on contract amounts, the actual build, any of these type of things right here. So based on a contract amount, I want to say that my lowest value is a light blue and my highest value is a dark blue. I can click like this and it'll just reformat that. It gives me this, and then everything else becomes a solid number. So again, just another way to make this stand out. Now, the one thing that can be done at that point is by using that share, is you can just make the different things that you're trying to persuade someone to do come out a lot differently. You also have the ability, though, that if we come back in here, that maybe I say, no, you know what, I want a custom value. If this is 10,000, and let's just say it's less than 10,000, and we come here and say, I want this to be greater than 10,000. I can do that again. Let's go back because I did not realize that. Let's change this number to 5,000. It does the same type of thing. Because I increased above 5,000, it changes it. Then the last thing I'd like to show you with something along these lines is what we call a diverging. So in diverging, I can take even a middle tier and put a middle tier in here, and let's go green and say, hey, let's put in here 2000. And then we get it to change colors based on that. So the other thing that diverging can do is based on a high low. I want my lowest value, I want my highest value. And I'm going to pick, let's do some more colors just so it brightens up a bit. Let's hit that. And let's take this and do the same thing. Let's make it so it's more, I don't want to call it huey, but you know, more of this type of shade. And then when you click OK, we have a certain limit that it takes through here. So again, based on what you do in your formatting here, you can kind of let it go all the way up. So this was the custom. I'm going to have my middle. So I hope that makes sense to everyone what that did. If you have more of a, so in our diverging, let's go back to our diverging one again. So we have the lowest, and I'm going to put in here a custom to kind of give us a mid-range. I want this actually to be, I want it to be red. There it is. And then click, I did not realize that the first one defaulted to clear. So you'll see there, it just then shows you it goes from step A and works its way up. If you were doing this and we did what, let's say a color by rules. So what would a color by rules be? Let's say that I want to actually declare some of the values. So we're going to use this one right here because it's percentage. So our amount of, say, a percentage increase would be back here in our filter. I could come up here and let's say that I want to base this on a percentage number. So I've got my increase percentage in here. And I'm just going to click the OK again. So now we're basing this on a percentage of increase. So we could put a rule inside of here. And by changing this to a rule, we have our sum of our contracts. So I want to say if the value being our percentage of increase is greater than 0% and less than 10%, let's make it green. Now, if this is greater than 10% but less than 20%, you know, make it this. We could go on and on and on. I'm always though leaving a rule that if this is that, and then let's say it is leaving that alone, and then hit this, you'll see that again, we've based it based on the percentage flow. So every time the percentage changes, it actually changes the value of that. You'll see over here we have 50 and 55%. So therefore, it changes dynamically again. So the whole point of this is that you can have your data actually control what it is that you're seeing, what it is that you want to see, and just help yourself out with things like that. Now, if we did a table the same way, so if I looked at one of our tables like this, so the difference between a table and a visual is with the visual, you see your color charts based off of a visual cue. In a matrix or a table matrix, you're looking at data itself. So let's say that I want to come in and I'm going to explore these out so you can see that there's more than one, like this right here. We can create a rule. Do we have a better example? No. So we can create a rule that says if the dates are a certain thing, so let's say that we want to say the dates are, this month, this year, we can say if the values are less than or greater than a certain number, we can change the rules that way. So how do we do that? We do the same thing. If we come back over here and we look at the data that's in behind it here, we'll see that our choices are based on any of these values. So I'm going to say under contract amount, and I will use the drop down arrow to say I want to do a conditional format on the background color. And that would be, I'm going to look in here and maybe say that if my lowest value is, excuse me, if that value is less than $1,000, I want it to be this light green. If it is greater than, I want to be a dark blue. Or, I'm sorry, it actually showed it green there. So if you look through here, let's see if I can get back to the main. Oh, I'm missing the button I was looking for. So we can do it based on a total, which is probably what I did here, versus maybe an aging bucket, the sum of a whole contract. Let's go back in there again. I did that with contract amount. Let's say that I want to do it where the sum, sorry, I want to do remove the conditional reporting of all. I then want to come back and I want to take the contract amount and do it based off of a font color. I really want a rule instead, so I could say if the sum of the contract is greater than or less than it's greater than 350, let's make it, and it's less than 500, let's do pink because it's not cooperating. So if you looked here, you'll see that it made it because it's less than 500, it's pink. If it's in the mid-range, it's showing nothing. Again, that's a very bad example I just did, but the number here is just not working. Like if I go here, let's come back to our contract amount so we can say if it is If the value is less than or equal to 650. I'm really not sure why it's not allowing me to hit the OK button. I apologize for that. But coming back to this again, just to show that you can see some of the different hues and different things that it could show you. You could do this based on percentages. You can do this based on the whole background. Let's see if there is a better. I'm going to do this. Just give me just a second to come to like a AP report. And on the AP report, as soon as this fires up, we've got some better numbers to look at. It's trying. Okay. This is a report that we actually will, and you can talk with Judy about this, how you can get this report, but you can actually get this in the AR report. So if I looked at this open payables one, and I've got my information here, and I came over again to here, this could be a place where I say that I want to do a conditional formatting on the amount. We'll do a background color. So I will say that if the amount is less than 20,000, we can do one thing. If it's so here it's showing me anything that's greater than a particular number gives a, a darker than what the light one does. So basically anything that's between those two and then above those two, you'll see how the hues are slightly different. And if I had picked some better colors for my background here, it would be a lot easier to show. So I apologize for that. But again, it's just an easy way to look at this, to go in, dissect your data. You can even come back in here now that you have this and go from the conditional to where it's talking about your subtotals, or you could do it with your values. So here, maybe we've got different colors based on the values. You can do it based on a style. Maybe we have a style in here that we're saying that, it's a bold header, and those bold headers then, because it's that, maybe I make those something like this. So where the font is different, black on black versus black on white. So you've got some various different ways that you can do this. You just have to go in. There is a document here called how to, it's like a tips and trips. The last thing is if you go through all this and don't like what it looks like, you can revert here. Any place you see the revert, you can undo what you did and get back to where you were to begin with. Thank you for visiting the webinar today. I will turn it back over to Judy to see if there's any other questions or a last minute statement from her.
Question here. Do you recommend that you save your different items that you've done before and then rename them? Is that a good way to, you have this template right here and you like it? Is that a great thing to be able to do, to just go ahead and rename them to Susie's report or Judy's report and try it that way? Copy the data over so that your basic overall template is good?
Very good question. I like to do it this way, to where when I do a save as the report, it keeps the same report, but I might come in and either put like a version 2, or like you said, my initials or a date range, something so that I know
Okay.
that I have a different version out there. But if you're satisfied with the way you format the open payables, definitely save it, because that way when you do the undo, it only does anything after that. Because you can
Okay.
always go back to the original, uh, you know, AP report instead of one with a version by it.
Perfect. Perfect. So, any other questions? All right. Well, as Alan said, the AR and AP reports are something that we've created, and they are available to all our customers. And just let me know if you're interested. We will follow up with this recording and the document. He has a Word document on how to go about doing step by step, so you can do this by yourself. If you want these templates, let me know, and we can. If your team is familiar with setting up Power BI, and all you need is the instructions, and you can go ahead and connect this to your live data. Go for it. If you want us to help you, we will help you, as well as give you an hour of training is associated as a complimentary gift of implementation specialists to our customers. So just let me know if you're interested in the AR and AP reports. And once again, these items can be moved anywhere on a screen. They can make them look any way you want, and having, of course, your data and titles that will make sense for your company. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar, and have a great day.